why would you post that? And I played like college sports and all of this stuff in high school and getting recruited by coaches. And that's whenever somebody they hit me with that go-to saying, like, if you wouldn't want your future employers seeing it, why would you post it? And so it's certain, I mean, just posting your feelings on the internet. I mean, if you do it, that's fine. But for me, I'm like, no, that's a no-go. Like if it just, I don't know, it just kind of cringes me out when somebody gets so mad, like you mad enough to go to Facebook and type it out, and then that makes you feel better. Like what happened throughout your day. Like it's gonna be okay. You don't have to go to the internet and tell them what happened.
Man, so you learned early. See, me all through my early 20s, I was cutting up. I was cutting up. So I'm glad you got that early. I was on fire, and not in a good way. Especially because back when I was in 21, that was still Snapchat era. I mean,
Right.
Snapchat era is still here, but if you still on Snapchat, no shade. You either young,
Right.
you either a scammer, or you doing some type of porn stuff.
Yeah. It's dying for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't need to stay there. But um all right, y'all, what's going on? It is your boy Izzy Bake Oven. What's up, y'all? So today it's a little different, all right? Now, yeah, I used to hear ads run through my stuff for other people. All right, this is probably the first real time the ad is for me. All right, so P.S.A, Prodigy Sport Advantage Stations, has expanded far beyond just the podcast. It is now a writing service, all right? And that a ghostwriting service. So we do it anonymously and take care of your needs, all right? Homework assistant, product and profile descriptions, grant writing, resumes, cover letters, templates, books, ghostwriter book too. Anything you can think of, articles, all that good stuff. PSA the Ghostwriter Solution can do it. So go over to PSAthepodcast.com and you can see all the services there with all their descriptions. Okay, because I know I missed some. And also you can reach out to me at theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and we can take care of all of that for you too. Peace. What's going on, everybody? July 13th, and it is Industry Plant. We are here for the second week. Last week was all right. I told y'all I was gonna go back to the studio. When I did, I was going back with a banger. I ain't tell y'all who was gonna be with me, but it was a fan favorite. You know, EJ from a few seasons ago. Y'all love her. We was in that studio rocking. She was off the Casamigos. I was off the Celsius, the energy drink, because like I said, it make me feel drunk without the sitting. So keep that in your mind. All right. So if you ever miss and want something that you maybe don't drink no more, or you about to just go work out, or you just want to rush, you having a tiresome day at work, go get you a Celsius. Celsius, if you see this, shout me out. Then you're gonna feel good. But they do taste good too. Like, I don't know if they're as like damaging as the other energy drinks. I don't think that they are. I got to do my full research on them, but I like how they make me feel. So, and they not like C4 because C4 make you feel like you can peel your skin off. And there are some days when you at the gym that feels good, where you need that, like, you want to be in the gym just doing everything. I had one homeboy, he takes those like every day. His heart gonna explode. Okay, so let's get into it with today's episode. We are on track 2, and let's get into this week's meme. Last week we talked about seed. Now we talking about like the development stages of that. So let's get into it. So today's meme reads: look at it like this. Had the tragedy not had happened, you wouldn't be where you are today. All right. Inspiration for this week's episodes come from Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. The other age-old quote: everything comes to those that wait. And then I think of another inspiration, which I may try to clip it in the video. I have my producer do a shout out to Eric E. Dilly, 713E. I might have him clip it in where you know that meme of the miner guy, and he like mining. It was like you keep going because you never know when it's gonna be like that thing. And so it was one part of the meme where the dude is doing the mining stuff, and then he stops, he keeps going, he hits the pot of gold, diamond or whatever, and then it's another one where he's hitting it, and then he was like, and then he turns around with his head down, but he was one like one strike away from getting the what he was looking for. So it's just like you never know when you'll have that one video, that one interview, that one game. You know, if you do sports, you just never know if that you're one more away from that thing. Okay. All right. So real quick today, y'all, just because we're moving into happy hour, and as we know, this is the segment where we just kind of rant about stuff. And yeah, I have my jug. Well, today I don't have my cup. I have my jug. I have a jug. I went to the gas station and I got me some water. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I usually like Ozarka, but this one today tastes a little bit like pool water. I'm not really sure why, but I'll say this, and this may sound weird. Even though it kind of tastes like pool water, it kind of tastes good a little bit. Is that weird? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Am I weird for that? Okay, so the first thing we talking about today, my toxic trait. So my toxic trait, honestly, is if I'm somewhere, whether it's the gym, whether I'm out at lunch or something, whether I'm at the park, no matter what it is. If I see somebody with some nice shoes, I feel like those are nice shoes. I need to go buy me some more. And the thing is, anybody who knows me knows I got dummy shoes. Like you look in them closets, you'll see a bunch of shoes. And I got rid of a lot, and I still got a lot because I end up buying some more too. That's my toxic trait. Is it really toxic though? On one hand, absolutely. But the other hand is like, I see it because it's like, well, you just blowing money. But then on the other side is like, you get you some shoes. Well, no, well, it's kind of stupid now that I think about it. And see, sometimes that's why you need to say stuff out loud. Because now I feel stupid because I'm over here talking about some, well, no, that ain't toxic, but it is toxic because the only beautiful part of it is you have nice shoes. But what's the benefit of that? You know what I'm saying? Unless I was getting some brand deal or something, which I'm not. That's just something to think about. Second thing I want to talk about. Talk about a few. What I want to talk about next? I want to talk about Instagram. I feel like I'm shadow banned on Instagram. Whenever I ask people, they see my post, they be like, I never see your stuff. And I be posting. Like I be posting. And I need like an Instagram expert who gonna watch this, because I know they will, to tell me what is that about? Why do you think I got shadow banned if I did, and how to get out of it? Do I need to create a whole new page or what? Because it really be blowing me. Like I really be posting fire. You feel me? Like hashtags, the pictures, the videos, the content just be there. And it's just like, don't nobody see it. So like, what am I missing? What am I not doing? I'm trying to figure that out. But then that alone, that kind of aligns with what we're talking about today, because if this episode is about development, right? And you planting those seeds and putting that work in. And like I said, even if nobody sees it yet, that don't mean they're not going to, because it's a principle. You reap what you sow, right? So if you constantly sowing out good content, I just can't help but to believe at some point the tree gonna sprout. And I don't think it's gonna be a little one either. But I do just kind of sometimes doubt a little bit, just because I think that's just human nature, really. But it's just something to think about. But for real, them Instagram, if like not influencers, but them Instagram experts, when you see this part, please let me know what am I doing or not doing, and I may just clip this part out and post it because somebody will see it and they'll be like, "Hey, this is what you doing, this is what you not doing." Okay, so before I get to ranting, happy hour not gonna be that long today, as you see. Um, Before I get to ranting, I have an interview today. Got a guest. All right, somebody I've been following for a while now was suggested to me. So while I'm talking about I'm shadow banned, his stuff being pushed. And so his stuff being pushed, I saw his stuff weeks ago, and then I started following him. And he has a lot of um, what's the word I'm looking for? The easy way to say this is on time words, but I was finna say I can't think of the phrase the other phrase. Rhema words. I was gonna say that too. It was something else, but I can't think of them right now. But let me go ahead and introduce them. All right. So my boy, what's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Doing the best I can with what I got.
The Mariah Carey.
I don't know. My grandfather said it all the time, so I, I just be saying it.
No, but it's a video of Mariah Carey, and they got the mic on her. She on stage, and they put the mic on her face, and she's screaming, "I'm doing the best I can with what I got."
I ain't seen that. I ain't seen that.
So for obviously my visual people can see you on YouTube, like, rate, subscribe. But my audio people, tell the people your name, where you from, and where you live now.
My name is Jason Jackson Jr. I'm from Northeast Texas. I'm from DeKalb, Texas, but I currently live in Houston, Texas, and I'm about to move soon. I'm not really sure where, but it'll be either I'm either staying in Texas, moving to Florida, or going to Philly. So still haven't. I'm not sure yet, but I mean it's just crazy right now.
Oh, you cheater girl, you all around the world. So first of all, I live in Houston. It's dummy hot. It's not even fully summer.
Yes.
It's dummy hot. But so you doing all this moving. This is I'm telling y'all, this is an on time word. This is he talking about the transition, and we're gonna get into that because I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Tell the people what you do for like a living, and then what you do and why you here, because you know why.
Yeah. So I am a. I never thought I'd say this, and it's actually kind of crazy because I used to cringe at people who did say this, but I am a full-time social media influencer, and I just go on the internet and I talk about my relationship with God, and I motivate other people in different ways, in an aspect in which they can relate to it, and not just have to make somebody feel like they have to like open a Bible and you have to read, you have to listen to what I'm talking to. Like I want to talk to you like a person. So I feel like that's kind of why God blessed me to have the platform that I do have right now. And today I'm just on here to talk about, like you said, the developmental stages and planting the seed. And even though you can't see it yet, just staying the course and sticking with it, knowing that something has to come up out of the mud soon.
For sure. So before we get too ahead of myself, question. So can you tell me of an experience or a time where you had to sow a seed and then wait patiently for it and then it sprout?
Yeah, right now, like what I'm living right now, like I just started making videos almost 4 months ago, while this is being filmed. So it ain't been that long, but I remember thinking like whenever I get XYZ amount of followers or I have an audience that's like this, then I'll be doing these particular things and stuff like that. But that's not the case. And it didn't come whenever I wanted it to, but
Mm.
it's like now I'm seeing it and now I'm also understanding why it didn't come because my character just wasn't there to uphold what God wanted to place upon me.
And that's good too. And I think a lot of times I'd rather it take, even like with me, I'd rather it take 10 more years than take, it come tomorrow and I wasn't ready. Because then if you're
Right.
not ready, you're gonna have to go back in the hiding. And honestly, I look at so many of these celebrities who've gotten these platforms, not even just celebrities, just people in general, who
Mm-hmm.
got platforms, but they wasn't ready for it. And then they
Yeah.
ruined themselves and they came to public ruin and public shame.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, shaking their heads when they see them and they gotta put their hand up
Yeah.
trying not to be seen. So that's definitely good. So what do you feel that you've learned from this experience of just from this one alone of sowing something and then waiting for it to sprout like it did?
Man, if you just if you wait on God and you submit all your plans to Him, He will grant you access to something. You know, it may not be in the form in which you wanted it to be, but if you just wait on Him, like He gonna reward you for your obedience. So, um, like the biggest thing for me right now and what I learned is don't be afraid to be laughed at. Don't be afraid to be criticized because people may say it's cringy right now, but eventually they're gonna be saying how much courage you had to do it and all that stuff. So don't worry about what people are saying right now. If you have an image of what you want to do in your head, you got to go for it, and you can't let nobody deter you away from that.
Absolutely. And so, what was your job prior to being a full-time influencer?
So I just finished up college. I played college football at Washington Baptist University. Shout out to them and all of my teammates and things there. But when I got done there in December, I moved to Houston, Texas, and I'm like, okay, I got a job here. I'm gonna go work, and everything is gonna be all good. You know, I started that job January 9th, and I quit January 23rd. And it was just like I don't have family, I don't have friends, I don't have anybody here. It's just me in Houston, and um, like I thought I had it all mapped out. So I start the job. They got me working like crazy hours. I won't say the company name because all due respect to them, it just wasn't for me. It's a great job, but just not for me. But like sometimes 12, 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I'm like, dude, I'm 21 years old. I'm not about to be doing this for the rest of my life.
Right.
So I quit because I was like, no, it's something else out there. So I quit that job and then I transitioned over into real estate because I had my real estate license. Quickly found out that that wasn't for me. And it's just the environment was nice, and I have a great mentor, someone that I can still ask questions, but the market is going a little crazy right now. So wasn't making any money with it and went into like this crazy depression. So that's what I did before this, but like that's kind of why I'm here.
Okay, good little story. All right, that's good to
Mm.
see. And obviously it's working for you. And even though I like how even in this where you at now, you've made it with as far with the influence, of course, it's gonna continue to go up. But the fact that you're now in another season of waiting to see what God about to do because it's like a season of transition. I keep telling you, telling my people last night. I was at a birthday dinner for my friend, not birthday dinner, I'm tripping going away dinner. She's moving back home to where she's from, and she's been in Houston forever. And she was saying like she going to heal her childhood self. And I just think it's so crazy because everywhere you look, everywhere somebody's moving, like
Yeah.
they transitioning out of a position. There is something going on, and you can just tell that that's the season we in. If you can definitely can
Right.
sense the times. Oh yeah, my cup popped up.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Here, appreciate it. I told him earlier. I said my cup wasn't here, but it's here now. All right, so now I'm gonna give you two. Just for this, we only got two definitions. I'm gonna ask you to now. I'm gonna say two words, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
All right.
First one is patience.
God.
Well, the second one I kind of did stupid this week. The second one is wait.
A song actually comes to my head whenever you say that.
What song?
I think it's called "Wait on You," and like the chorus is like, "That's what happens when you wait." Like you just keep saying, "That's what happens when you wait." Like He'll renew your strength, and yeah, that's what comes to my head when
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the definitions of patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. I think that's an interesting definition because I never fully knew the definition of that all the way. And then wait is stay where one is or delay action until a particular time or until something else happens. So even though they're very similar, they're still different. And that's
Right.
crazy. Okay, so this is my question because this is industry plant and this is track 2. We have what after this week we have 9 more weeks to go, and I'm telling y'all to get the track list on this is like a bag of trail mix. None of these people match, and it's crazy, but I love it. So, if you could be a plant, what plant would you be and why?
I would be. I think it's so cliche to say a rose. Like I feel like everybody would say that or something like that. But to be honest, I would be a a Venus flytrap.
Okay.
And I would be that because I actually never thought of this question before, but it just came to my mind. Um, because like it appears to be one thing, but until you actually get to know what it is, you can find out that's not like you don't know all of the things that it can do until you actually learn about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you, the moment that you step out on it, that's whenever, like, yeah, you stuck. Yeah.
Okay, bet. All right, so let's move into the next segment, which is what does this have to do with mental health? Okay, so the main thing is this episode for my young millennials. This is for us and older Gen Z, but really young millennials, right? Still, we young adults. So this is for us to. This episode is for those who I want them to make the decision to wait, and as far as to be in that position where they're okay with the waiting and making the decision to wait and not get too antsy and ahead of themselves. So quick little background with you. So we're studying you. How has your single mother shaped your view on delayed gratification and having faith in the unseen? Because I know it is your mother who really got you into, your faith. So how did she do that?
Yeah, really just showing me I didn't know it was a lot of things that I didn't know growing up until I got like older. Like I remember I was 20 years old. So I guess last year, my
Mhm.
mom, she was kind of explaining to me that at one point when I like me and my older brother when we were young, she was working and she was making like $300 a month and providing for herself and two other kids and paying bills and all of that stuff. Like in my head that's absolutely absurd. Like how could you possibly even do that? But that showed me that if you just give it time and you can stay at it, like continue to work for what you want, like doors will open. Now I still, my dream is still like I'm a I'm gonna buy my mama a house, I'm gonna buy my mama a car and stuff like that. But she's in a position now where she doesn't even have to work. She's retired and all of that type of stuff. But it took going through the hard times just to be able to reap the reward in the end.
Okay, good. So my next question was, can you share any experiences or lessons that are relevant to my audience as far as with waiting? And I think you really kind of just did, talking about you so far as like how you got to with that and then with the story with your mom. So I think I'm actually gonna share one. um I remember when I first graduated college and I had a job and then I quit it. This was a million years ago. And I was kind of in the position of waiting around to another position that came about. And, it took a minute, it took a minute, it took a minute. Finally, after waiting for many months, I got a job that was decent, something that I could do and I could tolerate because I always knew, doing this, stuff like this, and would be what I really wanted to do. But being in education for as long as I was, it was definitely something that, was one of those things it's not your end all be all, at least not for me, but
Mm,
it was definitely rewarding and it was at times, and then it was just good to make those connections. Because I tell them kids all the time, I say, y'all ain't gonna never forgive me. Like even
yeah,
obviously too with me being on the platforms I'm gonna be on, but just in general, just how I was, I said they'll never forgive me. So
right.
I think that was definitely interesting for me. Um, so how do you balance the pressure? Because I know being a social media, and I just started getting trolled on YouTube, so I'm enjoying that. Um, how do you balance the pressures and expectations of having such a large audience with staying true to your message and your faith?
I don't really. I know this is probably gonna sound cliche, but I don't really look at it as pressure because I could understand if it were something that I was doing out of my own abilities, but like everything that I'm doing right now is because God has given me the ability to do so. So I know exactly where I need to go to get more resources, and if I have a question about something, I know exactly who I can go to. So I don't really feel pressure because I feel like pressure. There are two types of pressure. There are only two types of pressure to me in my head. There's the pressure of God putting something on you
Mm-hmm.
that you have to uphold,
Right.
and there's the pressure of you picking something up that God never told you to. So I'm not like creating anything out for myself that God didn't give to me. So I'm like, all right, if I need a little help, God gonna lift something up off of me that I can't. But I don't really look at it as pressure. I do love the hateful comments and stuff like that because I've never had it in my life. So I'm kind of like fired up about that, but I don't feel like I got too much pressure on me.
Yeah, see, people like me, I've dealt with what's the word I look for? I've been unsuffered under witch hunts my entire life.
Mm,
So I've had a lot of this stuff that I've hearing with people who get to these places. This is new, like you just said, it's new for them because they've never dealt with people not liking them or hating on them, attacking
yeah.
them. And I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I'm gonna ask because I've had somebody say this on my YouTube recently. Um, why do atheists feel the need to constantly tell us we're wrong? Like, why can't you just accept that you're right? You got all the answers. So why can't you just have all the answers and just be happy and just think I'm? Why do you have to keep telling me I'm stupid if it's not true?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I love them though. Like, a lot of people ask me questions about like, how do you feel about atheists and how do you feel about this particular people? And I'm like, I love them, because in my head, like, Jesus didn't just die for the people that followed him. Like, he died knowing, okay, you may not even follow me, but I still think that you worth it. So I'm like, you know what? Everybody hates them, so I'm gonna at least try to be the one that love them. And sometimes, a certain amount of love will change a whole person's perspective about you. So, I don't know. I have no idea. I'll have to sit down with some of them one day and something like that.
You probably will. That'll be the funny part. It'll probably be on some like Instagram live stuff, and they're like, "Let's go live and talk about it." And
Yeah.
they're gonna come in on 10, and you just gonna kind of be like,
Right.
people be so mad. Like when you be like chilling, and they just be going crap. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
relax. But anyway, so my next question was, how does it affect your mental health? But it don't seem like, if anything, it seems like it's like you said, it's firing you up. Do you feel like sometimes? Well, let me ask you this. Let's twist it. Do you feel that sometimes you are maybe overwhelmed with like trying to keep up with what to put out today and what to put out tomorrow? Is it like, how do you balance that?
Yeah, I actually just got to a point in my like this week.
Oh,
I
good
just
time.
got to the point where I'm not trying to like put out content like I'm a content creator, because that was never my purpose. Like, I never intended for this to be my job, so I had to kind of revert back to my why, because I feel like why you do what you do will always have a direct correlation to how you do what you do. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm just putting out stuff just to say I put something out, like, I won't care if it's good quality or anything like that. But in the beginning, I was just sharing my relationship with God with other people, and I had to revert back to that because it did become a little overwhelming whenever I was like, if I don't put this out, then my check will be like this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, you weren't doing it for money in the beginning, so don't make money the motivation right now. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Because that's definitely for somebody out here who is a content creator and maybe have got into a rut and they like, I don't know what to do now. Go back to your why. Remember, why
Hmm.
are you doing this? Who are you trying to help? Why are you trying to help them?
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. So, all right, cool. So now with mental health, we talking about how, if you struggle with waiting and you wanted to learn how to wait, we'll get to that later, but we'll talk about how waiting affects mental health.
Hmm.
So what do uncertainty and anxiety? It says waiting for uncertain or outcomes or information can contribute to feelings of anxiety and stress. A study published in a journal of behavioral decision making found that waiting for uncertain news can lead to increased anxiety levels. Obviously, this is then prolonged periods of waiting without clear resolution can heighten this uncertainty. Then it says it can add to, for the second one is frustration and impatience. It says chronic frustration and impatience have adverse effects on mental health, potentially leading to irritability, mood swings, and decreased overall well-being. And okay, and then the third one, which I really like. Oh, I'm gonna get into the. I'm gonna do the fourth one first, and then the third one because I want to speak on the third. So the fourth one, I'm gonna go back. So the fourth one is delayed gratification and resilience. Waiting also can present an opportunity for delayed gratification, which involves voluntary postponing immediate rewards for long-term benefits. Research have shown that individuals with higher levels of self-control and the abilities to delay gratification tend to have better mental health outcomes. And this helps with self-discipline, but this is the one I really like. Perceived lack of control. Waiting often involves a sense of reduced control over a situation, which can impact mental health. A study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that perceived lack of control is associated with increased psychological distress. Feeling helpless or powerless during waiting periods can contribute to other in midst of issues. Now, this is the one I like the most because I'm a firm believer. I'm 1,000% sure that God will put you in positions to where you have no choice but to know, to see that you're not in control, especially when you're a control freak.
Bro.
And I know with me, when certain things haven't happened yet, I have to catch myself and say, well, it must not be time yet because this is industry plan, right? So if you go put the seed in the ground tomorrow, yesterday, and then the next day comes and you try to dig up and see where is it at now and you don't see nothing, you're gonna be like, what's going on? It
Yeah,
wasn't ready yet.
yeah.
So it's hard to look at that like that for most people. But at this point, where are you with your with the spirit of control?
I had a conversation earlier today with one of my friends, and I've just now learned to accept that it's just a like it's not even real. Like you were never in control, and your brain is just like I don't know, deceiving you into believing that you are because you know how to do some things, but you are never in control of like your life and your situations and all this. You do have free will, but like ultimately God is in control. And once you accept that, like then it'll become a lot easier for you to like move forward in making decisions and stuff like that. But I'm currently still in a season of like just giving it over to God. Like, okay, I'm done trying to control it because I don't know, it's like whenever you driving and then it's a little water puddle right there and you kind of hydroplaning a little bit. It's like if you just chill real quick, you're gonna be good. But I had to accept that. Like that was the biggest and the hardest thing for me to do in this season of my life.
Well, no, speaking of hydroplaning, I remember some years ago, I was my car started hydroplaning, and my friend, he was my homeboy, he was in the car with me. And then after we got back on our feet, he started laughing. He said, I wish you could have seen how you looked. He said, you look like Batman. Because all he said, I was like this. And if anybody know Batman, that's how he be looking when he be driving
Yeah.
that Batmobile. Um, okay, good stuff. So now obviously with industry plant, we think of a real industry plant, we hear that term when they're talking about these people in the industry. They talk about the the Lil Nas X's, the Billie
Mm,
Eilishes, and like they even say Ice Spice. And for those that don't know, the actual definition of industry plant is basically, I'm giving you the spark notes. I gave the actual definition last week, but this is the spark, so that means you need to go watch it to see if you want to hear my take on that. But I'm the Spark Notes version is basically somebody who's put in this place and they have a strong backing. So typically, when we think of industry playing, the I'm gonna give my spiritual revelation of it, but the original was basically these people who are pushed by industry, in the whether it's the music industry typically, and they're pushed by somebody to push a certain agenda.
mm,
Now, if we know how, we'll just call it what it is. We know how the devil works. He's the counterfeit. So he does whatever. So if he's doing something, that means God has an original. And
right.
so my revelation of industry plant, especially for people like you and many others, but definitely even myself, is that I'm put in a certain position in a certain industry to, talk about how good he is and what he's done and encourage these principles in a unique, in different way.
Right.
So even with you being an influencer, we got a bunch of those. Again, there's nothing wrong because it's 1,000,001 podcasters, but I can honestly say nobody's like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the receipts to prove it.
Right.
So what can you say as an influencer and a Christian influencer? What can you say that you're doing that no one else is?
um I'm using real world analogies, like modern day analogies, to bring the word to life. Like, not that it isn't living already, but to some people who don't understand it, like if you watch my videos, I know you are on some form of electronic device. So like I'll like pray, God, can you please give me a message about phone? And then I'm like, boom. Like it may not come right then, but it may be weeks later. And then like I know this person is watching this on the phone, so like while they're watching the video, they're also looking at their phone and putting themselves into the message. And I want it to be, I feel like whenever you actually sharing the word of God, like if you're sharing it in a good way, you sharing it and you putting a person into it. Like if you go to church, the church services where I feel like they talking to you, like that's the ones that you want to keep going back to. So
Right.
I always want to make sure that I'm including them in the message that I'm giving. And I don't feel a lot of people doing that. They just come on and they like, don't scroll, don't scroll, don't scroll. And I'm like, oh my God, like that makes you want to scroll, So yeah, I feel like that's what kind of separates me from a lot of people who are also in the same field as me.
Okay. And I was about to ask you something else. What was I ask you? So you're doing the influencer. And do you plan? Now you said you didn't plan on even being here, so that's how you know it was a divine setup. Do you? And again, reveal what you want, because I'm all for keeping privacy, because I don't less things that they can be attacked.
Right.
What else do you want to do along with this? Because
So my dream, my goal, I'll actually share this with you because it's kind of a big part of why I am who I am. But my dream has always been to be a motivational speaker. Like that's always been my goal. And Eric Thomas has been like my absolute favorite person to watch through a process because obviously E.T. the hip hop preacher, and he's the number one motivational speaker on the planet. But he also is like he has a firm foundation in his faith, and that's what he speaks about. So growing up, like 11 years old, I think it's whenever I started, but like I would just like there were times where I would not listen to music for months, and I'm just listening to interviews and I'm listening to ET speak and things like that. And like I would sit there at night and I'd be up to like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a school night, and I'm just listening to people speak. Like that's always been something that's intrigued me. So I just asked God if he could bless me with opportunities to speak. And I did get those throughout school and stuff. And I never thought that I would get to this point, but ET is now someone that I can text like whenever I want. If I have a question, if I have a concern, and I can just text him and be like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? I'm going through this. And most of all, I don't abuse that relationship, but it is something that I value. And, I thank him most of the time instead of just asking for things from him and stuff. But I want to be a motivational speaker, and I want to do what you're doing one day, man. I feel like, obviously the podcast world has many different avenues, but, just being able to bring people on and hear them speak as well is something that I'm interested in.
Well, definitely. And I definitely think you can do that. You definitely can speak. The gift is there. I seen that on Instagram. I laugh when I see him only because it's funny because like I can see people's niche, and that's why I said I'm surprised you ain't got your black hoodie on, because because you do that on purpose, right?
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, you do that on purpose in the dark room, so it's just funny because it's like I just laugh at stupid stuff. Like I think it's stuff stupid. So like. I look at it like you be like, I gotta make me wear my hoodie. Like it's
right.
Yeah. And that's funny because it's just so I just laugh at stuff like that. So it's like, nope, can't do the video. My hoodie ain't clean. Nope.
Exactly.
Nope.
That's it though.
So let's get back into the plant aspect. So the process of germination, which is the next stage after you planted the seed. We talked about the seed last week, and which just want y'all to listen to last week as well if you haven't already, but a quick little recount of last week was talking about planting a seed, and the overall story was telling people if you struggle with starting with new beginnings, this is for you, because a lot of people do that. And again, when we talking about this transition season, people are hesitant on starting new beginnings. And shout out to my homegirl EJ, who was on last week, because she talked about her story about how she had been teaching all these years. She was in a real bad accident, and now she literally has to begin again. And me and her the same age. She's 29. And it's just like, we're taught, unfortunately, society teaches that once you're 25, you should be married with kids, or, you don't have, you got a little time before they start judging you. But, they try to, they're like, you ain't married with kids, what you doing? You ain't gotten your career, what you doing? And that's not necessarily the case. But y'all got to listen to last week. So anyway, second part, development and germination. And this marks the beginning of a plant's life cycle. It typically starts with the seed. Last week, as we talked about, containing the embryo of a plant coming into contact, watch this, with favorable conditions such as moisture, oxygen, and suitable temperature. As a result, the seed absorbs the water, triggering biochemical changes within it. This leads to the activation of enzymes, which break down stored nutrients such as starch into simpler forms that the growing embryo can utilize. This early stage of plant development, specifically germination and the emergence phase. So it's so many, I'm a wordsmith, so it's so many words in here I want to break down. So the first one I want to break down is we're talking about favorable conditions. And so when you're planted, favorable conditions. So these are, so if you in that season of waiting, there are going to be stuff that's going to happen that are favorable. We always talk about bad stuff, but it's always good stuff that happens too in that season of wait. And in some cases, I think those examples, y'all got to hold on with me because I'm gonna lose it. It's those seasons of wait where something comes and then it gives you like you ain't ready to emerge just yet, but it's helping you with the emergence. Because I look at it like this, where he kind of giving me hints of things that's gonna happen, and that's how God do give you hints of stuff that's gonna happen, and you get the little practice before you get to the real thing. And I didn't host it, a panel, virtual panel for shout out to Man Up Global, based out of St. Louis, for their mental health awareness conversation. I hosted COVID's over now, maybe a year or so ago, where I was basically the host of a panel of people. And if you can't do that stuff, how you gonna get on Revolt and Complex if you can't do this? You know what I'm saying? I saw something on Revolt the other day. I was watching somebody, I forgot who I was watching, and they were talking about how these people, how Revolt especially intentionally reaches out and grabs people who has their own unique views, because we don't want to change their views. We want them to have their views. And that's where they like to showcase different people with different opinions hosting these shows. And so that's a favorable condition. Or how a podcaster who, I'm putting myself on blast here, but I do that, reached out to me. This dude who been keeping up with me, telling me keep inspiring. This man podcast has super surpassed mine as far with numbers and things. And he tells me out of nowhere, he says, "Hey, I just want to let you know, keep doing what you're doing. You inspired me when I first started going." Shout out Charles Hawkins of the Big Dog Podcast. They're going crazy right now. He tells me, he says, keep doing what you're doing. You inspired me. When I first started getting into podcast, I was studying your stuff. And so when he said it, I paused, because I'm thinking, now don't get it twisted, I know my content is great, but you studying me and you surpass me.
Right.
And I'm not no hater, because I'm going to keep reposting y'all stuff. I keep seeing that people come up with 20K, 30K stuff going crazy. I'm going to repost it because, again, like I said, and I said this, it's like the arrow, like you going back, you thinking you going backwards. And it seems that way, but really, and not trying to make it a compare and contrast, but when you go out, it's going to be like,
right,
nobody can touch you.
Yep.
So I just think that that's good. And then, of course, I like the word emergence, because that means it's like you coming out of the. All right. So now let's go into the next segment, which is a time of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of reminisce on things. And this is the weekly sabbatical. So my question to you is, what happens when you feel as though something is taking too long? What do you do when you feel like something is taking too long and you get in that phase, which we all do, when we feel like I should be doing something right now? What do you do when that happens?
I kind of identify and critique my routine, because typically whenever you rush something, you ruin it. So I always try to make sure that I'm doing something different to get me out of that mindset, whether it be, okay, I'm waiting on this and it hasn't come yet, but what can I do to progress towards it, or, help myself at least, try to move forward in accomplishing this goal or this dream, whatever it is that I have, and, just trust God with the rest of it. So the routine is a lot of times what stops a lot of people from success. It's like you getting started at 9 a.m. and you like, okay, I had an early day, and somebody been going since 6:30. So, just trying to articulate and cultivate my routine.
Okay. Now, I said it wrong. I said the weekly sabbatical, but I challenged that. So we kept the question the same, but I clicked the wrong button. My bad. But okay, that's all right. So I challenged that. We're going to get to a weekly sabbatical after this, but what I challenged that this segment is deemed to kind of just get the good debate going and go against what we're trying to preach. So if I'm trying to preach, telling y'all need to wait, what happens when you say, well, I can't wait? So let's give some examples of that. and this is based obviously off of research. So a study published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal talked about medical waiting times. And this is a time where this is hard to wait with long procedures and when there's delayed access to healthcare systems, and this can affect your physical and mental well-being, especially if, say, for instance, because if you go to the emergency room, unless your head and your arms, you ain't getting in.
Yeah.
But what if you got stabbed and they have to treat that wound and they don't? That could lead to death. So that's a situation. Which leads to the next one, which is emergency response services. And then the third one, which I like, is waiting for mental health support. It says, in context of mental health, long wait times for accessing mental health services, therapy, or counseling can negatively affect individuals. Research by Mental Health America found that in the United States, 56% of adults with mental illness did not receive mental health services due to various factors, including long wait times and limited availability and ability of the people. Now, I think that's interesting because there was a time when people wasn't going. Now people trying to go, and these lines is ridiculous, which I do believe. I mean, of course, the awareness and people are getting, talking about it more. But I also know for a fact COVID had a lot to do with that, because COVID was having people crazy because it was either you was dying from the virus, or you was dying because of mental stuff. The fourth one is waiting for legal proceedings. Lengthy wait times for legal proceedings, such as court hearings or trials, can have negative effects on individuals in legal matters. Waiting for resolution can result in prolonged stress, financial burdens, and emotional strain. While specific statistics on mental health outcomes related to legal wait times may be scarce, studies have shown a correlation between legal delays and increased psychological distress. You couldn't pay me to be Tory Lanez right now in this whole Megan Thee Stallion case, or anybody who waiting to go to jail. Like, either send me or let me go. Like, just get it out the way.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself doing that. Now, you have a large audience. You made it clear how you stay true to your message. Have you ever put out some content? This is where we get messy. And you was like, why did I post that?
I don't think I have on this platform.
Okay.
Like since I've gotten this platform. But so it's just crazy. So at the beginning of the year, I deleted all of my social medias and I created new ones. So on my old ones, yes, it was stuff like, why would you post that? And I played like college sports and all of this stuff in high school and getting recruited by coaches. And that's whenever somebody, they hit me with that go-to saying, like, if you wouldn't want your future employers seeing it, why would you post it? And so it's certain, I mean, just posting your feelings on the internet. I mean, if you do it, that's fine. But for me, I'm like, no, that's a no-go. Like if it just, I don't know, it just kind of cringes me out when somebody gets so mad, like you mad enough to go to Facebook and type it out, and then that makes you feel better. Like, what happened throughout your day? Like, it's gonna be okay. You don't have to go to the internet and tell them what happened.
Man, so you learned early. See, me all through my early 20s, I was cutting up. I was cutting up. So I'm glad you got that early. I was on fire, and not in a good way. Especially because back when I was in 21, that was still Snapchat era. I mean, Snapchat era is still here, but if you still on Snapchat, no shade. You either young, you either a scammer, or you doing some type of porn stuff.
Yeah, it's dying for sure.
Yeah, it didn't need to stay there. But I think that's interesting, and it's good to know. Like I said, my Twitter, I had an original Twitter, and I said this before, and I'm saying this again. I actually said this like 2 weeks ago. I'm Izzy Bake Oven now, but back in the day, I was Open Casket Sharp. And anybody who knows me knows Open Casket Sharp and Izzy Bake Oven is two different people.
Yeah.
So I had actually in 2019, I had deleted the Open Casket Sharp Twitter and remade an Izzy Bake Oven one. And I had redid my Facebook too, because I had watched this video from this lady. Shout out to Coach Livy. I talked to her in a long time. And she was talking about how it was around the time Kevin Hart and Cardi B had got exposed for saying or doing something. And she said she's not gonna let it make it easy for somebody who's demonically influenced, because you know we live in an exposing world. So she's like, you're gonna have to really try your hardest to expose me. And she had kind of released like kind of like a prophetic word talking about thanks for the memories of the old stuff that you used to do. And so that was when I had got the revelation to delete my Twitter and redo it, and to delete my Facebook and redo it.
Yeah.
I actually have just recently allowed my Twitter to be destroyed. I'm dramatic, but I allowed my Twitter to be removed completely, and I'm not gonna remake another one. And my Instagram, I don't know if I need now. My PSA Instagram will stay, and my YouTube is fine, and my TikTok is fine. But I don't know if like should I maybe delete my Instagram, my personal one, and restart it, because I really am wondering if I'm shadow banned. Like I was really wondering, but I don't know. It's because people say they don't see my stuff, so I don't know. Stuff to think about. Now let's actually move into now. I'm for real now. I was playing earlier. That was pump faking. The real weekly sabbatical. And now this is the time to reflect and think. So now you grew up in Northeast Texas. How has your upbringing and your faith impacted your perception of success and patience in seeing results?
It's actually kind of worked in reverse from what I was taught. So I was raised, my family, they had great faith in everything. And even my father, my dad, this is important, I guess, to who I am as well. My dad was actually sentenced to 20 years to life in prison the day that I started crawling. So I was like 8 or 9 months old. And so he taught me a lot, just kind of going through that. And he's actually out now, and we have a great relationship, and we always have. But I was kind of taught to, just do what normal people do, like, believe in God, have faith in God, go to school, work hard, and basically retire 60 years old. You lived a great life. And I didn't want to, like, I'm sorry, I was always the one out of my family who I didn't mind getting criticized for doing like the lame stuff or whatever you want to call it. Like, I didn't mind. I don't care what you think about me. um I would go, like, people always talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh and the Pokemon kids at school. I would go sit with them and just like talk to them, and like, because you really don't know what somebody going through, like. And I was I guess identified as a popular kid in school. I mean, we didn't even have that many kids. I graduated with like 42 people in high school. So like, just being able to include everybody, and people like, bro, you really talking? I'm like, yes. Why won't you talk to them? You really never know. So I just had to learn in reverse, like unlearn some of the things that I was taught, because I didn't want to live a normal life. And that's fine if you're a regular person, but I don't want to live a regular life. Like, I want to do stuff that I see Steve Harvey doing, and like people that are my age. And I want to do the things that you want to put on TV, not just like going to work and getting off, going like that type of stuff.
Well, and I believe in this, especially in these times we're in now, that we're going to see a lot of people on these platforms and in these industries that you wouldn't have seen many years ago, because I feel like it's a grace for it. And so, but it's just on some, like, when you get to that position, don't forget, and I didn't see too many people humbled. I refuse to be that person. That's why I keep saying, let me stay grounded. I don't want to have to get humbled. I don't want to have to get humbled. I do not want to be like, because people, they lose themselves. A lot of times it's, the outside influences, of course, like the drugs and the alcohol. But, if you don't do that, not saying you still can't be influenced, but, it's that those are a lot of the reasons why. And then people will do anything for fame.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They'll do anything for fame. And it's just like, like I said, when I started my podcast, how I went in with like the mental health aspect and me just wanting a platform for people to express different perspectives, even if they didn't agree. Nobody think I was going to do that. Like, when I did it, people was like, they thought I was going to come out, especially back then. They thought I was going to be on some Charlemagne, Joe, just talking crazy, just going in with everybody. And what I've had been on by now, probably. But I also would have been that person, which I said on my Instagram as a joke, like, I'd be like, I can't wait to get on and see what celebrity I'm gonna be beefed up with. I'm not gonna be beefed up with nobody, because I'm not going back and forth with you.
Right.
It was the time I would be like, I said I was gonna get. I said as a joke. I said I was gonna get on. I can't wait to get on Instagram Live and tell everybody tap in while I'm screaming and spitting, going in on one of these people that didn't try me. But
Yeah,
that's funny. Them people look crazy. I refuse to be that person.
crazy.
It's funny to watch though.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about waiting, again, if you struggle with waiting and you really don't know how to go about it and you need some extra motivation, I got you. So I'm gonna name some tips that I've done research on, and my boy Jason here is gonna kind of agree or disagree and add anything he wants to add. All right. So bro talked about it a little bit earlier in the episode. Practice delayed gratification. Delayed gratification refers to the ability to resist immediate rewards in favor of longer term rewards. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology has shown that practicing delayed gratification can enhance patience. One way to practice is by intentionally delaying small rewards or working towards long-term goals. So I look at that one. The first thing I think of easily, and then my brain always uses weight and analogies. So, like, if you have a cheat day every Saturday, try to make maybe your cheat day every other Saturday,
Yeah.
something like that, just so that instead of trying to, reward yourself that soon. Because, or if, say, for instance, you can't wait that long, maybe you had 2 cheat days out of the week, try to give yourself just one, just something like that, to where it's like it's really worth it, or, just stuff like that. The second one, we talked about empathy a few weeks ago. Practice empathy. Cultivating empathy toward others can enhance patience by helping others understand different perspectives and challenges. Research published in the Journal of Positive Psychology suggests that empathy can lead to increased patience and second understanding. Take time to actively listen to others, consider their viewpoints, and then practice empathy in our interactions. Um, I understand in some cases that that's hard to do with some people because some people refuse to see anybody else's perspective. But I was having a conversation with somebody I knew recently, and they was talking about this impression that people got from them. And they were like, well, I don't give that impression. I said, you don't think you give that
Right.
impression. But if everyone is saying it, doesn't mean it's true. But
Mm-hmm.
it's something you're doing that's triggering people to think that. So
Right. Yeah.
I love this one. It says break tasks into smaller steps. Sometimes impatience arises from feelings of overwhelmed by large tasks or goals. It says focus on one step at a time, and you can feel a sense of progress and accomplishment. So he talked about crawling earlier. You got to crawl before you walk.
Yes.
And you can't just jump up. You can't be a baby, just start running.
Yeah.
You're a baby that start running. You some baby off of Resident Evil or something. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But you gotta, crawl first. And then this last one I like. It says seek social support. Surrounding yourself with supportive network can provide encouragement and help you stay patient during challenging times.
Yes.
Blogs and articles often emphasize the importance of seeking social support when struggling with patience, sharing your experiences, seeking advice, or simply venting to trusted individuals. Now, I think that's great too. Don't be afraid to talk to people on social media. Of course, gauge the people first, because people be weird. But
Mhm.
we always say people be weird on social media, but it'd be a lot of cool people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I done met a lot of people on social media, and then they be really cool in real life. I'm like, dang, you cool. Of course, I meet weirdos too. But
Right.
I mean, I was laughing because I've made a post, nobody believed me. My Instagram is a riot, my story especially, people. But I made a post the other day. I said, when people meet me in person for the first time, I said they cry because I'm too good to be true.
Oh.
All my friends was like, get on somewhere. I said, no. Like, y'all hating on me. But all right, so for my people, my young millennials who are struggling to see progress, you love the Lord, you love Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can your relationship with Jesus guide them into maintaining their perseverance and trust in their journey?
First thing is, I mean, obviously, it goes hand in hand with God and man. Like, stop hating on other people just because you're not there. Like, so many times people ask me about whether they be influencers or other famous people that I have had the opportunity to meet, or that kind of identify with the same things as me. I'm not gonna say any names, but like they kind of want you to say something bad about that person because that's how they feel. Like they want the same type of I don't even know the word, idea, or like entertainment from it. Like, what do you think about this person, or what do you think about this topic? I'm like, and they just hate it because I'll be like, I love them, like I love them, I love them. They like, but you think that? I'm like, that's them. Like they got to take that up with God. So the first thing is just, it's hard to be ungrateful and show gratitude at the same time. Like whenever you feel like, man, I'm trying to progress and nothing is working, just think about where you were and like write it down. Like write down everything that has happened from that point. You might write down one thing, but guess what? 6 months ago you wouldn't have written down anything. So that's still something to be grateful for. So, and just wake up every day. You ain't gotta always ask God for something whenever you praying. Just thank him for what you do have. Like
Yeah,
you're gonna always want something more, but until you are grateful for what you have, like that's whenever you realize that all you have is all you need.
for sure. And my last question before we move into the final segment: how does it feel when people? Because I know they do. I actually have two questions. So,
All
how
right.
does it feel? And you have to tell me one, only one. But I'm gonna get asked this first. So, how does it feel when people reach out to you thanking you for your content?
Um, it's a wonderful feeling because I feel as though it's more important for me to serve somebody else than to, like, I'm not trying to get your praise. Like I mean, yeah, like God bless me to be able to do certain things, but like that's not, like I said, that's not why I'm doing it. So when people do reach out to me, and I'm sorry if I haven't gotten back to your DM and you watching this, but I probably get like 20 to 25 DMs a day. And I try to get back to some people, but then again, you give them an inch, they gonna take them out. So, but it is a wonderful feeling to know, like, wow, this actually, like, it impacted somebody, because that was the goal the whole time.
Okay. What celebrity or person of influence has reached out to you telling you about your content? Just one.
Uh, I'll probably have to say, I don't, oh man, just one. That sounded conceited. Let me chill. Um,
It's only one.
Coco Jones.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
like Coco Jones. She's a
yeah.
nice person. From
Shout
what
out to
I've
her.
seen, I don't know, but she seems like a nice person,
Yeah,
like a
great
genuine
person.
person.
Great person.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. All right. So now let's move into the final segment, which is game time. And in this game time, it's called Keep It Going or Hang It Up. So I want you to tell me whether or not, I'm going to name a few scenarios, and I want you to tell me whether or not this person should keep going, keep waiting, or might need to cut the cord.
All
All right,
right.
you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Fourth mixtape, and you're on year 8, and numbers and streams still look like they did in year 1.
I'm gonna say keep going because I heard somebody say that it took them 10 years to make a million.
Okay. All right. Continuously putting out content on Instagram, and your numbers go up daily. So it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Trying to start your music career in your 40s, and you can't get anybody to work manage you.
I'm gonna hang it up. I'm sorry. Hang it up.
Constantly applying for different jobs in the field you graduated in, but you have no but you aren't getting any leads.
Man, that's like that's a perfect description of myself. So, I mean, honestly, hang it up. If I had to give you like personal advice, I would say hang it up because
This your opinion. So
right. Yeah, hang it up. Hang it up.
yeah, and anybody who disagrees or what would you say in the game time, say it. Like I don't care. That's the point. Um, I'm gonna do one more. All right. I want to do one more. Yeah, I do one more. Constantly trying to master cooking, but everything you cook is nasty, and people have told you several times is nasty.
Hang it up. Hang it up.
Ain't nobody got time to be playing with pallets.
Yeah.
All right, so simple question or challenge for the week. Make sure y'all are participating. How do you plan to implement these weighting strategies moving forward? Because we gave you several, we giving you as always. I give you my research. I have the people tell you what they do. We give like actual, real life experience, and that's the main thing. And I think it's even just doing this episode is even giving me more reassurance and just a little patience, just to hold on just a little longer, and because I know it's always gonna be worth the wait. And the word of the episode is cliche, because it is cliche just saying
Mhm.
like, oh, it's gonna be worth it. It is though. It's
Yeah.
just that's everything. So before we go, because I'm gonna ask him some stuff off camera, I ain't gonna ask y'all. But before we go, anything else you want to leave with the people?
Yes. Um, the biggest thing that I want to leave with y'all is like if you just stay consistent, like you could fail 50 times and you get one win and you up for the rest of your life. So
So
like don't worry about the L's right now. Like just learn from them. Like I know people say it like you said, cliche. People say it all the time. They not losses, they lessons, but they only lessons if you learning from them. So don't keep taking the same L's over and over because if you just win once, you probably won't have to worry about anything ever again in your life. Yep.
and that's what happened to him. And look at him now. He's 21-year-old. He his own boss.
Man, it's crazy.
All right, y'all. So that is all we got. This has been track 2. Next week is going to be another great one. And I can't wait for y'all to see that one. Got an interesting guest who has an interesting story. And next week, after this week, so we talked about first was seed, then we got germination. And now next week is the vegetation state where you start to see the greening of the plant and you start to kind of see the little bit. It still can't produce, but it's like the seedling part. So y'all have to tune into that. So PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And I love us for real.